Could we take a quorum?
Certainly. Good evening. Board Member Crystal Sawyer-White.
Present.
Board Member Gary Hack.
I'm here.
Board Member Diane Gibson-Gray.
Here.
Board Vice President Deborah Vincent. Present. Board President Walter Rulli.
Present. Ms. White, could you lead us in the flag salute?
Of course. Pledging allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We move to approval of board minutes. The March 22nd meeting.
Move
March
approval.
8th. Tonight's 22.
I move approval.
Last.
Okay, sorry about that.
I think I heard a
We had,
Diane motion.
I move approval.
do we have a second?
second.
Second, Diane first, second, Mr. Hack. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes get approved. Superintendent's report.
Yeah, I just want to invite you all to the first annual Antioch Band Festival for elementary students. That's occurring tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Deer Valley High School, and then we're going to have a second one at Antioch High School the following Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock as well. But over 1,300 of our elementary students will be performing. So very excited just to see the rebirth of music in our community and in our schools. So that should be exciting. Always fun to see little guys with their musical instruments. And then I want to congratulate the Dozier Libby Medical High School. They were recognized at a recent health occupations career, and they had 2 students move on. The actual 2 teams. I have to start writing bigger, I'm telling you. The public announcement team and the healthcare career display team, they advanced to the second round, so we look forward to seeing how they do in the competition. Congratulations to them. And want to congratulate some of our administrators, and thank you for those of you who were able to attend last Thursday evening's Association of California School Administrator Awards. At that event, we recognized Louis Rocha as the Secondary Principal of the Year, Monty Gregg as Elementary Principal of the Year, our own Ruth Rubalcaba, who's with us tonight, as a Special Education Administrator of the Year. Although she was the person in the room who least wanted to be recognized, it was my pleasure to recognize Jessica Romeo as the Chief Human Resource Officer of the Year. And finally, I believe this is his second time winning an award, Bob Sanchez was Central Office Administrator of the Year. So all well-deserved, so it's really nice to work with such professionals. So congratulations. And then I just wanted to wish you, we won't see you again until after spring break, so I hope that you all have a restful and rejuvenating spring break and get to spend time with your family.
Thank you. Student delegate reports.
Good evening, Board of Education and members of the community. My name is Ana Murillo, and I'm here representing Antioch High School. For student activities, nearly 20 Antioch Middle School students visited Antioch High School recently for a special event partnering with our Jewels of Edge and female event partnering with, engineers. The 8th graders did a small project, they had lunch, and they talked with Antioch High School students and engineers as well. Antioch High's latest program connects students and staff. The Positivity Project allows staff to surprise a student or students with words of appreciation, support, and gratefulness. Our Panther girls played a tough and intense game, but Deer Valley, unfortunately, managed to squeak out a win with a score of 12-7 during the annual Powder Puff game held last Friday at Eel Stadium. For student achievement, the 12th grader Trey Hall has been named a Youth Hall of Fame winner for Contra Costa County. The senior, along with 3 others from the county, will be honored during a special supervisors meeting this month in Martinez. Trey won the Valiant Volunteer Award. Congratulations to Casey Clark, who was recently accepted into the University of the Pacific's Conservatory of Music. This is one of the oldest and most prestigious music schools in the west of Mississippi. This continues to be an exciting time for seniors such as myself. As we're waiting to hear back from colleges, I got accepted into UC Davis. I'm really excited about that. Thank you. For academies and learning, the movie theater, the movie director Anthony C. Ferrante recently honored our city and Antioch High School by featuring beautiful aerials of Antioch and loads of iconic spots, including Antioch High School and downtown. Many of our media tech students and staff participated in the making of the production Forgotten Evil, which was aired on the Lifetime Network, I believe, last week. Measure B is finally underway for the cafeteria building and the 1100 hall renovations, which will be home for the media tech students in August. And an upcoming event is, we'd like to let you know that the Asahi Club, this is the Anime Society of Antioch High School, will be sharing its yearly event on Saturday, April 1st, where artists and vendors will be featured. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Education and members of the community. My name is Lucas Primgard, and I'm a student at Bidwell High School representing the alternative education high schools. This week marks the start of the fourth quarter at Prospects High School. Students began testing Monday, March 20th, and were focused, putting forward their best effort. Testing will continue through the week with makeups next Thursday, March 30th. Prospect students, Antioch Adult, and Encore homeschool students all celebrated Tobacco Prevention Kick Butts Day last week. Our school had a troop representative from the County Office of Education and Youth Outreach on campus to provide information and resources that spoke to tobacco prevention and education and the harmful side effects of tobacco use. Prospects High School staff continues to prepare for their WASC visit beginning April 2nd through April 5th. The WASC visit will kick off Sunday, April 2nd with a welcome meet and greet in the Prospects School auditorium. Prospects students and families are being invited to attend. Prospects 8th Annual College and Career Fair will be held on Thursday, April 27th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Over 20 organizations, schools, and representatives from the military will be in attendance. Antioch Adult School has held a number of workshops through this semester to help graduating students prepare for their transition into community college and or the workforce. Los Mandanos College has partnered with us and hosted a college application workshop, financial aid workshop, and student tours at LMC campus. Graduating seniors are getting excited about the senior Saturdays in April at LMC as they plan for their journey to head off into college. Prospects Adult Transition Specialist Nick Morgan held a career exploration workshop today and is available each Wednesday on campus to support all students. The ACCU Placer College Assessment will be offered to Prospect students Wednesday, April 19th. The Encore Homeschooling Leadership Program has been very busy focusing on bullying, tobacco use prevention, education, and citizenship. The leadership team is currently collecting shampoo, bar soap, toothbrushes, toothpaste, combs, small washcloths, hand towels, and gallon-sized bags. On May 2nd, the leadership team will be assembling all these items or hygiene kits for the Antioch Homeless Shelter. So please donate to this great community service project.
What school was that?
Antioch, the leadership team,
Sorry.
sorry, I should know this.
That's okay, I'll find it later. I got those.
Yeah,
I got stuff to give 'em.
Encore, sorry. Lastly, the students have been wrapping up their movie called The School, taken from the sitcom The Office. In addition to their academics, the students are still participating in craft, engineering, newspaper, photography, and various specialty classes, including writing and math labs. Bidwell and Live Oak High Schools are also starting their fourth quarters, and many of our seniors are working hard to prepare for their graduation on June 7th. Live Oak held their second blood drive event this school year in which students, parents, and staff participated. Live Oak also completed the leukemia/lymphoma fundraiser where they raised over $150 towards this worthy cause, thanks to parents, students, and staff that contributed to the fundraiser. Bidwell and Live Oak are continuing to provide our students every opportunity to be college and career ready when they graduate high school. Both schools are currently working closely with Los Medanos College to make sure our students are aware of the opportunities available to them after high school, whether it is college or career-oriented. We want each and every student to find their own success. In order to move forward toward that goal, LMC Workforce Development Counselor Brittany West has been visiting both campuses to meet with our students. Brittany has completed 2 of the 3 scheduled workshops for Live Oak seniors and 3 of the 4 workshops for Bidwell High. Brittany also provided a workshop at Bidwell to assist students with completing their federal financial aid. Brittany is a graduate of Deer Valley High School and serves as another positive example of how graduates from Antioch Unified School District are making an impact on our community today. We are looking forward to expanding our relationship with Brittany and Los Medanos College in the future. Thank you for your attention and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Every time they talk about graduation, it seems, can't
Free
come
to
that
go.
fast.
May your homework prosper. Okay, we are now moving to public comment. Our first speaker is Nicole Sedano.
Good evening, board members. I'm here tonight to again serve you Recall Papers Deborah Vincent. Your behavior continues to be a detriment to this district and create an unwelcoming atmosphere for staff, students, and the community. You are abusing your power as a board member and meddling with staff while wasting valuable time and resources. It's a shame local media does not invest more time in covering this district because they would be ashamed at your behavior. I will do everything in my power to educate the community on who Deborah Vincent really is and highlight why she is unfit to serve on the Antioch School Board or any other elected position going forward. As for Ms. Crystal Sawyer White, I will issue you my one and only warning after your comments last month regarding the school district should use minority firms to run its social media, followed by comments about only hiring minority firms. That is racist and inexcusable. Shame on you. The best firm should get the job regardless of sex or color. You are also leaving meetings early, which is disrespectful to the community who elected you to serve them in the first place. If you do not have the time to fulfill the duties of the position, perhaps it's not for you and you should step down. Either way, if you continue to play this race card, I will have no choice but to begin a recall on you as well. I am not the only one who feels that way. Many others in our community do as well. I would encourage you to think before you speak as a board member representing the district. You should want what's best for the district, not what is best for a certain demographic. Our students, staff, and community deserve much better than what they are receiving from the board as a whole. It's time to shape up and put politics aside and simply work on behalf of our students.
Our next speaker is Willie Mims.
To the board, Willie Mims, representing East County NACP and also representing Pittsburgh Black Political Association. First of all, I wanted to say that I was somewhat disturbed by the comments that I just heard, racist and excusable race card. People need to look at the history of Antioch itself and the Antioch Unified School District itself before you talk about race card and racism. Look at the suspensions and expulsions of African American students. Look at who's being thrown out of the schools over the past years. So don't talk about racist and racism until you look at this school district itself. So with that, I just wanted to set the record straight on that. So with that said, I came for another reason too. I wanted this board to seriously consider a resolution making this school district a safe haven school district or a sanctuary one. Martinez has one. Pittsburgh has one. Mount Diablo has one. Your superintendent received a letter from the state superintendent of schools last year encouraging all of the school districts themselves to create a policy revolving around safe haven or sanctuary districts, because you do have a huge population of Hispanic students in your school district. And so to look out for them, to look out for their families, this is what this board should do. I mean, I understand that you may claim that you are following the law. But let me tell you this. For 250 years, slavery was the law of this land. It didn't make it right. Good people stood up, took a stand. Why don't you be those good people to stand up and take a stand like everybody else? How much time I got? Okay. So, but that's my concern. We've had laws on the books that were illegal and wrong, but they were laws. People challenge those laws. So you don't have to use the excuse about we're breaking the law. The law kept people in slavery for 250 years. That's what the law did. So, and then the law also took the Japanese and put them in slave camps, concentration camps for a period of time. That's what the law did. So good people take a stand and will confront this law, which is wrong. Anyway, with that said, I'll close it up. Thank you.
We now move to 8B on the agenda, comment from individuals not on the agenda, from district employees. And our first speaker is Jackie Caraval.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Anello, Cabinet, staff, and community members. My name is Jackie Carvajal, and I'm an analyst in the Personnel Commission HR office. I'm here on behalf of the Personnel Commission office to cordially invite you to the oath of office for Ms. Mary Rocha, your new board appointee for the Personnel Commission. This will be held on Tuesday, March 28th at 5:15 here in the boardroom. We'll be having a brief reception right after, immediately following the oath and prior to our work study, okay, our budget work study. And we welcome anyone who wishes to attend, and thank you, and hope to see you there as we welcome Mary. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. Next speaker is Sharon Weaver.
Good evening, members of the school board. I'm Sharon Weaver, and we are here representing the bargaining team. Although we have come to an agreement on several issues, we are frustrated by the slow response on some of the larger issues. On Monday at our rep council, we discussed the concerns of our members. We present to you postcards from our members covering our 5 most important issues: collaboration time, salary, elementary report card issues, K-3 class size reduction, and of course, special ed issues. Please direct your team to give us proposals to alleviate our members' concerns. Thank you so much.
We now move to item number 9, district reports, Citizens Bond Oversight Committee Measure B, Annual Audit Report.
Would you like to introduce this, Ms. Santa Maria?
Can I have a step stool?
Yes, I would like to introduce Kay
Power.
for for reporting the audit report for the Measure B and the Measure C, both performance and financial audit.
Thank you. Good evening. I see some new faces up here. Some old ones returned, some new ones. Mr. White, congratulations. Mr. Hack, welcome back. Ms. Gray, Ms. Vincent. Mr. Rulig, I'm so nice to see you in the center as board president. You've had enough years' experience. A few years back, Measure B and C Oversight Committee, when the Measure C was drying up, the money was being spent for all the schools in the district, and Measure B passed, which is for the high school, modernizing high school, it became a question is, do we want to create another bond oversight committee, or can the current oversight committee just accept the responsibility of reviewing, auditing, and reviewing the modernization process? So we took the load on our shoulders and said, yes, we can do this. Then I had to step off for a year because I've been on this committee way too long, and you can only sit for so long. and then they kick you off. But they invited me back after my time was up. But while I'm talking about this, we've read the notes. You have an electronic copy of this. I have a hard copy, and reviewing it. And under standard auditing procedures in the state of California, our auditors reviewed this with us, and we reviewed it and went over it and said it looks like it's okay. As I've said in the past, other school districts have not been so forthcoming with the information to their oversight committee. And there's been a lot of heartburn throughout some school districts because of that. In fact, I think some school board members lost their job over in another city. So, you know, we take our duties seriously. I am not an accountant, but we do have an accountant on the board, on the committee, and unfortunately, we're going to lose him. And he sees little minute details that those of us who are not accountants don't notice, don't see. So if there's anybody in the audience who would like to come and join us in the near future, hi Mary, in the near future, we're going to have an opening, 1 or 2 openings. So please, please come and help us out and review all this information. And we try to get to the schools when we can as a group. In fact, we're probably going to set up a meeting at the high school to review what's going on there. I have some great pictures of them tearing down the ad building. I happened to be out over there driving by and went, whoa, what's this? So I snapped a few pictures as they were tearing it down. For those of you who don't know me, I am a local product. I left for many years, came back, and I'm back. But I went to Antioch High School. I will not tell you how many years ago. Does anybody have any questions on this review of the Measure B and C? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
Appreciate your service.
You're welcome.
We now move to item B, district reports. Citizens Bond Oversight Committee Measure C
I
on
think
their
she-
annual audit report.
Both,
I'm sorry.
I just did
I'm
both.
sorry. C is superintendent's goals.
So a few weeks ago, the board asked for an update on progress towards the goals that were set in open session, I believe in November. So I'm going to give you really the 30,000-foot view, because obviously there's a lot that happens day to day, but just to give you a general idea of how we're progressing on those. So how about that? So as you know, we have a local control accountability plan, and one of the goals that you set for me was to ensure that that is implemented. You can see what we're doing under each goal within our plan. One of the things we've developed, which we brought forward this year to increase transparency, were dashboards, which there are firms out there that you can hire to create this dashboard that tells how much money you're spending on each in each area. But we actually have the brilliant Dr. Murphy with us, and he developed dashboards himself, not only for the district, but also for school sites, so that you can get, our parents and community members can get real time how we're progressing on each one of those. Transparency and all of the metrics are included in the LCAP. So that's one thing I'm particularly proud of. We also, if you haven't yet seen them, our culture has become increasingly, they get their information in pictures. And so I want to commend Mr. Murphy and his staff for also coming up with infographics, so you can tell exactly what is it we're working for, but it's sort of told in a picture, and that's also for each school because they have their own school site plan and how they're connected. So they're all on our website if you go to the tab for Local Control Accountability Plan. I wanted, though, to first talk about a lot of people, and I think it's left over from the Bush era, when they implemented No Child Left Behind, that they ranked schools based on what I call the autopsy approach, which is you teach and then you take one test and you make assumptions about how great a school or district or school is doing. And invariably, the districts with the most challenges, who are trying to meet the needs of every student, well, look at, they just must, that must be a terrible district, without really looking at the full picture. A lot of researchers will say, you know, tell me about the challenges that your students and families are facing, and it takes a lot more, and I think our federal and state governments have recognized it takes more to educate someone who's speaking more than one language in the home. It takes more to educate a student who is in and out of foster care. I mean, there's just things that we understand. So I shared these at the Chamber Gala, and I just think it gives a more, it's a complex issue. It's not a single test score. So from 2000 to 2013, the number of students who speak a language other than English in the home increased from 6% to 20%. So that's 1 in 5 of our students who speak a language other than English. And the number of students residing in group homes has risen 144% since 2000. And you can see 68% of our students now, that's 11,000 of them, receive free or reduced lunch. I think what's interesting, there's a big difference between free and reduced lunch. And 85% of those students are receiving free lunch. Only 15% of those are reduced. So another challenge as well. So the number of students in foster care, one of the things about the city of Antioch, we're very generous in taking the county. I think we have 1 out of every 3 foster care students in the county reside in Antioch now. And so we've seen a rise of 252% in the past 6 years. So yet another challenge. And more than 3,000 AUSC students live in poverty. And I think this was a hard concept for a lot of people to imagine. That means that they live in a home where, with a 1-parent family, makes less than $10,830, and a 2-parent family makes less than $14,570. And currently, 441 AUSD students are homeless. So challenges, but also opportunities. But just to paint a bigger picture than I think what sometimes is painted. So one of the goals was to improve student achievement by an average of 5% each year. One of the things we've done is we've put in, obviously if students don't come to school prepared to learn, we need to give them interventions and supports to ensure that they can learn. So you can see we've put positive behavior interventions and supports at all school sites. We have restorative practices now at our middle and high schools. We have full-time release teachers who are trained in restorative practices. And our elementary sites are using Toolbox and mindfulness in order to teach students how to make good behavior choices. And they're also exploring the Mindful Project and quiet time to assist students. So you can talk about, since 2010-11 to 2015-16, suspensions occurrences declined 38%. Days of suspension declined 48%. And you can look at the number there. A pretty significant decrease in suspensions at the elementary level. And expulsions have declined 65%, which is very significant. We do, however, still have, as Mr. Mims pointed out, disproportionate suspension and expulsion of certain student groups. And that's something we still have a ways to go to address that. We're working on it, but we still have challenges there. So here's our year-to-date suspension data this year. The number of days students are suspended this year, just compared to last year, is pretty significant. 26% declined. And you can, and that's also the number of occurrences and days. And if you look at the high school suspensions, they've declined by 27%, middle school by 36%, and elementary by 31%. Middle school still seems to be our area of, we need to put more resources into making sure that we're addressing that. Average daily attendance is somewhat flat. We put some resources in here. We're up, but it isn't really statistically significant. But I wanted you to have it anyway. So we really this year put a focus on curriculum and assessments. You can see all of the things that we've done. And really our scores in mathematics are not where we want them to be. And so we decided we needed to put a big focus on not only just teacher professional development, but also how do you review data so that teachers can adjust their teaching and not just keep moving through the curriculum, which is always a challenge because there's a lot to cover when you're a teacher in the state standards. So you can see all of the time that we've devoted to that. We've also redesigned our assessments so they better reflect the Smarter Balanced assessments, and hired elementary computer teachers, because what we found was a lot of our students can text, but when you ask them to drag and copy and paste, that in and of itself became a detriment to showing really how well they knew the information. So hopefully we're going to see a positive result from that this year. Okay, and you can see again, focus on mathematics. We've had extra release days for teachers, walkthroughs. And we've increased our focus on online assessments. We were still doing, our formative assessments were still paper pencil, which is not how the balanced assessments are that students then have to take at the end of the year. So we wanted to make sure we were giving them the experiences throughout the year. So the first time they're not taking an online assessment is in the spring when stakes are high. And you can look at all that. So English language arts we really sat down and looked at our assessments, formative assessments, to answer the question, why were we expecting better results at the end of the year in English language arts? And we realized that the rigor of our assessments didn't match Smarter Balance. So teachers, staff members revised those and now have those. We also developed collaboration and ELA network for teachers to make sure that they were sharing best practices across sites. STAR AR data is comprehension, and I think I want to focus your attention just on the far right-hand side. You can see that this is the growth from last year in each grade level. I don't think there's a little thing here, but in first grade, it's a 6.7% increase, and you can go down there. The greatest gains have been in the 5th grade, where there's been a 9% increase since last year at this time. Tell me if I'm going too fast. Okay, one of the goals also was fiscal solvency. As you'll recall, we made significant progress this past year in reducing expenditures to match enrollment. And also, thank you to this board, we adopted a resolution to have a 5% reserve rather than a 3% reserve ongoing. The board asked that I communicate via various sources as to the financial condition of the district. We now bring you monthly budget updates, which were not occurring in the past, and then your standard interim reports. We've thus far given you budget presentations based on this year, and also what we anticipate that the governor, and it's always, you really don't know until it's actually adopted at the state level. True. I heard a true out there. The board also asked that I provide you updated and pertinent information so you can make informed decisions about contract negotiations. Those are the dates in which we brought you that information. And again, we could include tonight because we also discussed contract negotiations tonight. One of the things the board was concerned about is that we did not have a facilities master plan. We're anticipating that there are sections of Southeast Antioch that soon are going to be developed, and what does that mean for our schools? And looking at the birth rates, what does that mean for our older schools? When do we anticipate that those homes are going to turn over and school-age children will move in, et cetera? So we've established a leadership team and a master plan committee. They're working with key stakeholders, and we're going to complete our demographic study by May. You can see the deadlines there, June 2007. We hope to have a final product to you in November. And that will have cost estimates in there, and then we'll have a work study session with the board. Short-term facility needs. When education funding was dramatically cut, there was an option, which did not exist before, for districts to sweep their deferred maintenance and put that into the general fund, because a lot of districts were hurting at that time. This district did choose to sweep that. The unfortunate thing is they never then refunded it. And so we came before the board, asked you to pass a resolution to fund that. again, because we certainly have some real needs at our schools as far as just the short-term facilities. We have roofs, we have asphalt, we have a lot of needs. So wanted to make sure that we set that aside so that we weren't waiting until the need arose and then trying to scramble and find the money. You'll also recall that we had Measure C bonds that had not been issued, but this board did not want to raise what the taxpayers had agreed to pay per household. Well, we found that there was a way, because the interest rates were low, and we took advantage of it to refinance the existing bonds, so then we could take out the remaining bonds without costing our taxpayers any money. So now we're going to be able to use that for the schools within that Measure C boundary to make some of those changes. You'll remember that we brought forward the facilities projects that we plan to complete in January. Stop me if I'm going too fast, sorry. Continue to rebrand, reimage the district. I started this year with Deer Valley students creating a video called It's a New Day. I hear it when I go throughout the district. People actually say it. And then I've become very adept at social media, something I was not at all. Didn't even know how to take a selfie when I stepped into this position. I probably shouldn't share that, but I don't know how people got that thing, but took a little lesson in that. So when I took over, I think we had about 300 people on kind of a defunct Facebook page, and now we have over 1,200, but our reach has grown significantly. It's up to 18,000 sometimes per week of people interacting with our site, liking what we're putting up there. I now tweet. Didn't know what a tweet was either, but now I know what it is. And if you haven't noticed yet, on our front page, there's a running Twitter feed. So you can just kind of see, so it's continuing to update our parents and community. And then many sites have now established and regularly update their own social media site. So there's several platforms going. And I've been communicating with groups like Rotary, Kiwanis about the programs in progress of AUSD to make sure there's enough ambassadors who have what's really happening, so that you're not having just sort of what people think are happening. And then, so increased transparency regarding board communications. Prior to my taking this position, the Friday board communication to the board was not made public, and I felt strongly that that was a public record. And so now they are up on our, anyone can read them. Every Friday they're posted up on our website, so I think that was a positive move. We have increased opportunities for parent and community engagement. I eat lots of donuts and coffee in the morning with parents. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of skipping the donuts, but we're just out in parking lots. We're talking to parents. We're talking to students as they're arriving to schools. We have a lot of meetings, and every school site is also doing this to make sure that our parents know that there are partners, that this isn't our school district, this is their school district, and how can we best serve them and their children. I have now, I try to spend Fridays out at school sites. I learn a lot when I'm there interacting with employees, just seeing facility needs. That's been actually very rewarding, and something I'm committed to continuing to do. And then one thing we weren't having was all management didn't have any meetings. So in other words, you would have your classified management who worked in the bus yard or in transportation or in maintenance, and they didn't really necessarily know what was going on. They knew what was happening in their little part of the world, but now we have quarterly management meetings, so we all come together, get the same information, they get to answer questions, that sort of thing, just to make sure there's greater coherence and connectedness among programs. And so, as you know, we've had a few issues in the media. I don't even want to say not as many recently, but I think we've effectively managed some of this communication. There was the, oh, I don't want to bring it up. Never mind. You know what it was. Let's just, okay, don't tempt me, Willie. I think I've tried to strengthen relationships with other public agencies so that when something like one of those issues in the media occur, that we have a joint agency response that's appropriate and looks like a planned response, not just a sudden response. So, and then we're currently in the process of redesigning the district and the school websites because the interface, especially if you're a mobile device user, and most of our parents are, if you pull up our website, you're constantly doing this thing, you know, and I like that because my picture is really small, but our families can't read the content. And you have to go to maybe 15 clicks in order to get what you need. And clicks are a big deal in our society right now. It sounds silly, but we're redesigning our website so that there's fewer clicks when a parent goes on there. It's mobile device ready. Schools are mobile device ready. They can navigate it like that. We also will have a new app next year. It's our own Antioch Unified School District application. Parents can download on their phone. You'll be able to see even what's happening in sports in the district. You'll be able to see all sorts of things that are happening. So we're hoping first to get the websites out for the start of the school year, and then, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, around November we'll have our app up and running for parents. So that's kind of a new thing. And I believe, again, that's the 30,000-foot view of what's going on in the district, and just some updates for you. And I'll continue to update you, but did you have any questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, is there any formalized mechanism for communicating to the media what we feel are positive news things, or does that just sort of happen?
Well, hopefully they're visiting our Twitter, following our Facebook. If it's something, I'm trying to think of what it was at the beginning of the year. Oh, the Maria McLean story where she was the presidential award winner. I believe we sent out a press release. Unfortunately, most districts have a public information officer. I'm kind of it here. So, yeah, it's definitely something we can work on.
No, perennial issue is always that you get this sense from people, there's a disconnect between the sites, the teachers, staff, and downtown. How would you feel that status is?
I think the regular site visits are helping, I hope. I'm not, and again, I could be living in my own world, but I think even when I was at the site, that was just sort of the district, and there was this kind of disconnect. I don't personally feel it as much, but I think that's more of a question probably you would talk with other staff members, teachers, Robert. Just kidding. That's something we continue to work on. Definitely. We can always do better.
So, thank you for the presentation, and I think I mentioned before that I thought you were brave to do a public discussion of your goals, because we've not had any closed session as a board to really look at your goals and kind of set that direction in terms of how things will happen. So how do you feel it's going in terms of the how of each of your goals, and have you been able to strategize around how you're going to accomplish what you've outlined?
Well, first I want to thank the board. It was kind of, when I told people I wanted to set my goals in public because that felt like the most transparent process, I'll be honest with you, a lot other superintendents and other people were, you're crazy. But so thank you for embarking on that with me. I think it's actually a good process. I think we owe it to our public to let us know how we're deliberating, even what we come to as far as a goal. But how do I think the how is going? I mean, I think it's going well. Hopefully that's what I tried to convey in tonight's presentation.
And then I received a comment that says specifically what are the key strategies that Stephanie will be using to accomplish this goal. Is it principal development, hiring an LCAP manager, or what exactly? And this was just a public comment, so.
Which goal would that be?
This would be goal number 1. I received this, and then The other comment is, this is from the community, that they're not sure some of the goals can be accomplished because of what's happening in some of the schools. And some people feel there's a disconnect. Like, they go to the LCAP meetings and think the LCAP meetings are really good, but they feel that there's just a general disconnect. And this is coming from someone that attends an LCAP meeting regularly. So I just thought I'd
Good feedback.
put that out there.
Thank you.
And I think the other concerns is, people are really looking at the test scores, and they looked at the 2016 ELA test results, and for Lone Tree and Grant, and feel pretty hopeful because they see the improvements. So I think people are definitely watching and monitoring how well we're doing as a district, but people are also concerned because of the charter schools, and they're concerned about the impact of the charter schools in our district. So that's the other, feedback, and people are hoping to see at some point a future analysis of how the financials of the district will be impacted by the charter school. And I think they're referring specifically to Rocket Ship, but that's not named here. I think we have some time to, to think about that, since they're not starting for another maybe year and a half, almost 2 years. So I think we have time to do that. But I think for the most part, people feel positive. They just want more information on how, so that they can participate, so.
Okay, it's good feedback, thank you.
Okay,
Mr. President, I commend you for your presentation. I was not elected at the time that these goals were set, but I was able to review them. My suggestion, in order for the public to be more aware, in addition to Twitter, any type of social media, would be to televise these board meetings. That way, the public can see if they're not able to attend these board meetings. So that's my suggestion.
Thank you.
My turn.
Ms. White?
Ms.
I mean,
White?
I'm sorry.
That's good enough, I'll answer to that.
Kirsten Gray.
I'll put this under future agenda items, but now that we have the new California News Schools Report Card, which replaced the API or whatever, I can never get the Academic Performance Index. I think that'll give us a launch point and then to go from there. So we won't incorporate it into this year's goals, but that'll be a tool that we can use to even measure this year's goals, to start the measurement. So I just want to bring that up, and I'll bring it up. We used to have Mary McCarthy come and
Absolutely.
debrief, and we need to debrief from this. There's just too much to look for.
Thank you.
I mentioned to you off microphone, thank you for the report, because it's the first time I think we've had a transparent report in public to this depth. And whether you agree with it or not, it's nice to have it there.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great, gave us a lot to chew on. Mr. Mims was going to comment on this item.
First of all, I want to say that, in terms of setting the goals in public is a good deal. I've not come across any superintendent that even set their goals. They even want the public to know what their goals are, let alone publicize them. I still have to look for them. That's been one of my issues with some of these goals that are hidden. So I commend Mr. Nello for doing this in public. Also, in terms of the school, the district website, I noticed today, and I've been there some time since I've not been in your district's board meetings, so I have really no reason to look at it. But I looked at your agenda, and you have a regular agenda, and then you also have a detailed agenda. I thought that was pretty good. How long has that been in place, this detailed agenda?
Oh, gosh. October 26th, first meeting, it's part of the board docs.
Okay, I must have
program
missed
we
it.
adopted.
Your suspension data was not disaggregated. I saw the numbers, you know, in terms of percentages, but I would like to see in the segregation, because we know everything goes down, but how much of a decline have you closed the disproportionate number of suspensions of African American and the African American subgroup, first of all, and then the Hispanic subgroup, second of all, but they're second. But the African American subgroup was there and has always been there. You had 441 homeless folks within the district. So, what's in your plan? I didn't see anything in the plan to address that issue. Is there anything in the plan yet? Okay, all right. The last one is the social emotional under goal 3. It has restorative justice for middle schools. How successful has that program been for middle schools? Because that's one of the other reasons why I came here tonight. So if I can get an answer to, you know, one of those, especially the social emotional component, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
I believe we're
President,
meeting.
Can I get an answer from the superintendent?
Pardon me?
Can I get an answer from any of those questions I asked the superintendent? I asked about a series of questions, and so I'm just asking you because I can't ask her.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll ask her if she's ready to, otherwise we'll get back to you with a, you know, an exhaustive answer, I'm sure. Did you want to make any comments?
Well,
or
I would love
refer?
to address, first of all, the homeless issue. It's very concerning. When I spoke about this at the chamber dinner recently, somebody from Sutter Health came forward. We have a homeless liaison, so we're regularly meeting with those families, reaching out to them. But we have a meeting, I think, Mr. Sanchez, next week.
It's in April.
Yeah, because I think it's a bigger problem than the school district sometimes. So we want to make sure that we have community partners, that we're providing some sort of wraparound services for these families. But definitely, when I saw that number, it was just really disheartening. So, and then as far as breaking it down by student group, the suspensions, I'm happy to do that for you. And I know that we have an upcoming meeting, so
Right.
if possible, I'll have those at those meetings.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We move on to item number 10, hearings. We have none. Public presentations, item 11, none. That brings us to item number 12, consent items. Do we have anything from the board that, to be pulled?
I'd like to pull S just for explanation from Adam, maybe to the board.
Which item?
S,
It's
in
like
Sam.
in Sam.
Sylvan Learning.
And I don't want to poll Jay, I just want to make a comment.
Yes.
Okay, on item J, which is the calendar, I'm going to make aware this year that I would like to involve the parents in, if we go deviate from the calendar a lot, we need to include the parents. That's for the next time we negotiate, not this year. Just
So
putting it
we're
on record.
We're on item
Huh?
12. No, I'm looking at this.
Okay, you want to be, they want that pulled, but that was my comment, I wasn't pulling.
We're on item 12. We're taking them singularly, right?
Okay.
Well, okay, I said I want to pull S, but I don't really want to pull it. I just want to make, for everybody to have the same explanation.
Oh, okay.
So if you could do that, so we can
Oh,
clarify.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I want to put, I guess it would put on hold W, vendor agreement.
W.
Yes, on hold. More time for review.
Wait. W and what else?
No,
I want to
that's
see
it.
V. You can pull item V. I have questions about that. But go ahead.
W.
And for the record, there is a revision on L and M,
As always.
as always.
And what are you
I'm-
pulling, Deborah?
So, I think I want to take a look at item R, which is the AVIT, just have some questions about it, and also V, item V, questions about V.
Okay, so far I believe I have B, L and M, R, V, and W. Am I missing anything?
S for
S.
explanation.
And S?
For explanation.
S for explanation, yes.
I believe L was just revision. Those were the, we're not,
Both L and M are just for revisions,
just
to
for
put it for the
revision, okay.
record.
Classified certificate.
Okay.
I have a question. I've noticed this the last couple times. We have A is approval of all consent items. Is that normal? Because you
You can-
either approve them or you pull them.
I totally agree with you, but it was set by technology because program for some reasons.
So we do approval of all consent items if you wish to approve them all at one time. And then that, we adjust the motion to cover all of those items. The ones that you pulled, I'm currently adjusting that motion for the items that you pulled and revisions.
But if I were to say, for the record, that I want to approve all the consent items except the ones we just pulled, that would approve A, which means it approved all the
It doesn't, because the way we program it in the system, we can actually individually address each consent item at your
But
request.
technically, on the dais, if I approve A, that means approve all. So,
Right.
I mean, is that something you can hide in the background? Do you have to have that?
We can certainly come up
Does
with
that
an
make more
adjustment.
sense to you guys?
yeah, we can.
It does.
Yeah.
I do, just FYI, I
Yeah,
do
it's a
make
little confusing.
an adjustment to the motion to reflect your changes.
Right, but I'm just saying if I technically.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so what I was trying to do is, do you guys just want to approve the ones that we can and then do the?
Yes,
Okay,
that would make sense.
Okay.
Somebody wants to make that motion.
yeah, how?
Yes, so we'll have to probably just list the items that we're approving, so that we're clear about what it is that we're approving.
No, we can do it the
So-
other way. Just we're not,
We could pull the ones.
That's fine, whatever
yeah.
works.
So,
Okay, so
what I was gonna suggest is that we move approval with the exception of A, because technically I'm not going to do that. And with the, pulling the items J, S, is it W,
J, B, L,
R, and V? What am I missing?
no, S.
And revision to L and M.
I had
With the revision to
pulling
L&M.
RSVW.
You have which ones?
RSVW. I believe on J, Ms. Gibson Gray just wanted to make the
No,
comment.
they said that they want to discuss it, so I'm pulling it for the teachers union too. So J, R, V, and W.
J, R, V, S,
And W.
and W.
Okay.
Okay.
So I make that as a motion.
Do I hear a second?
second.
Forwarded by Ms. Gibson Gray, seconded by Trustee Hack. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Those items carry, and we will move to item number J for discussion.
And there should be, you guys have a comment card, is that it? You can put one in after?
Hello, Valerie Luke. I am a member of the AEA bargaining team and a member of the calendar subcommittee from the bargaining team. We did work on a survey to go out to parents. It's something that we worked on last year in our calendar committee and discussed. I think we never quite decided the best way to deliver that survey. We talked about doing it over the phone. We talked about doing it by paper ballot, and we're trying to develop the best way to get the most results back. And I don't think we ever quite came to the conclusion on that, so it's something that we need to continue to work on. But we definitely, I think all sides, all three, CSEA, AEA, and the management side that sit at the table together all have an interest in knowing what works best for our parents, because it's the best thing for all of us.
Right,
So-
and I wanted to bring it up because I should have brought it up earlier until we got to tonight's, but I wanted to make it sure for next year that we do that, you know, SurveyMonkey something. You know,
Absolutely.
and I'm sure the district is willing to lend a hand to HR.
Yes.
I'm not
It
speaking
was,
on your behalf.
it was developed as a team. All three teams
Right.
developed that together, so
Yeah.
we'll continue to work on that.
We're
That's my
happy to
goal.
hear that. That's
Thank
great.
you. Having been a parent a long, long time ago, a working parent. So I will make a motion to approve that.
We have a motion to approve J. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms.
Crystal.
Crystal White. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We move to item number R.
Okay, item R. I actually just wanted to have some explanation, have some discussion about it, just what it's for, how it's going to benefit the teachers. Just want to hear about what this is.
So Avid is a program that is currently, we have at Black Diamond, Dallas Ranch, Antioch Middle, and Deer Valley High School. And it is a program that helps students get on track with higher education. And so with this program, our teachers go to trainings. There's a curriculum that goes with it, so teachers are trained on Avid, and so Avid helps students become college and career bound, and it is for not your students that would typically be on that path in terms of academics to be headed to college.
So it's a program that encourages students to want to think about college, or?
Absolutely. It encourages them, it gives them the tools, it teaches them the path to college, and it prepares them so that as they're going into high school, that they take classes that are transferable to CSU and UC admissions, and gives them the sort of the encouragement and tools to be college bound.
And there's obviously going to be data tracking with this, and outreaches to targeted students,
Absolutely.
the ones that are not
That's
performing well. Is that the idea?
That is the idea.
Okay. And let's see here. Is this a computer-generated program?
No, this
Okay.
is an actual class.
Okay, so it is an actual class, so it's not internet dependent. Okay,
No.
got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, do I hear a motion on that?
Move approval.
Moved by trustee Gibson Gray, seconded by trustee Hack. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. R unanimously. Next is the S?
Yes,
S, yes.
Sorry about that board, because I was looking at it, obviously. And Sylvan Learning, I have no problem with them. I do have a problem with the $240,000 that are going to be spent between April 1st and June 2nd. And I just asked the powers to be why it's such a compressed time period of 2 months for that much money. And you explained it to me, so I just want everybody to hear it.
So let me just.
And going forward.
Yeah. So let me just explain that due to our Title I funding, we have dollars that need to be set aside for extra tutoring for at-risk youth in both math and English language arts. And so going back to the STAR exam, this particular program is focusing on students who are far below basic. And so we did attempt to implement these tutoring programs using local resources, using our teachers and using our local programs in implementing these tutoring programs. However, we were not able to garner enough support to provide these services to our students. So then we started vetting different tutoring companies and using them to see if they could provide the services to these students. And so therefore, we were not able to find a reputable group that was going to cover all 14 elementary sites with these targeted students and to provide the tutoring that was necessary. We did have some. There were some tutoring programs that did take place during the beginning of the year and up until now, but not this expansive. So then we had to go out to, we had to do an RFP, and that is a process that does take time. And so we, Sylvan came in with the best presentation and services. They provide parent workshops, they provide ACT, SAT prep, and they provide the tutoring for those targeted groups of first through fifth graders at all 14 sites. And so this is a lengthy process. We would like to keep this local. However, we were not able to pull together the resources in terms of staffing or a particular organization that could come in and do this. And so, yes, you know, it is for the final 2.5, 3 months of school, but these students are most needed students academically, and we feel that these tutoring services will benefit them.
So for next year, do we still have the same amount of money of $240,000 theoretically?
Well, it's more than that. It's actually $240,000 is just a percentage. So we have closer to $800,000 to provide.
We have spent the other $500,000 or $600,000 already this year?
No, we have not. We have not been able to spend it all.
So this is just the beginning of those funds?
This
Are we
is
at the beginning of those funds?
We
or
are not
what
at the beginning of. We have used some of those funds, but we have not used them all.
Okay.
We can carry over some of those dollars, but we can't carry over the whole amount. So, so going into next year, hopefully, if Sylvan works out, we would like to move this to the local level. We would like our teachers to do this. We would like our own staff to do this, but we have not been able to do that. And the local tutoring organizations have not met the demand that we have to provide services to all 14 schools and to students who are operating at the far below basic level, which we don't use anymore, but that's how they're designated.
So, my understanding, if I recall, we approved Sylvan Learning Center before, and it wasn't there at the last board meeting. I think it was. Is that correct?
No, we did
I
not.
thought-
This is the first time we brought Sylvan forward. We have been working with Sylvan for some time, but this is the first time that we've formally brought it forward to the board.
Okay.
And then you have a specific, they've presented you with a specific curriculum outline of what it's going to be like, what the lesson plans are, how it's going to work with the teachers, how all of that will be.
Pre and post assessments, so they come in with an assessment program where they assess our students before, and then they assess them after with a standardized assessment. The individuals who they have working with them are credentialed, and so they have gone through the RFP process, and which was reviewed upon by staff, which is a mix of teachers, district office staff, and Sylvan was the one who presented the most comprehensive program.
And specifically, what subject matter?
It's English and language arts.
Okay, so English language arts only.
English, language arts, and math.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
That's
ELA
what I
and
wanted to
math.
hear was the math piece,
Yeah.
because we are,
So in 8 weeks, which is basically from April 1st to June, we are going to spend $240,000 for up to 300 kids.
Up to.
How many kids do we know? How long will it take to assess those
Right.
numbers of kids? And if we do a pre-test, that takes time. We do a post-test, that takes time. How many weeks of instruction are we really talking about?
Right.
You know, I'm just saying.
Right, well, again, it's
So
tutor.
hopefully next year it'll be a better scenario.
It's tutoring, and so,
It's a lot of money too.
right, yeah. This is money that we have to spend. on tutoring for our most neediest students.
So, I understand we have to spend it, so let's do it the best way we can this
Yeah.
year. However, in August,
Yep.
let's do a better job next year. Yeah, obviously.
I think it's gonna help as well. We came to an agreement with our bargaining unit, our teachers, to actually pay them rather than an hourly rate, which isn't very attractive at the end of a long day with 150 kids and you're tired. A lot of our teachers, they have other commitments, they're tired. Well, it's not settled, I'm not saying.
Yes, I know.
I'm getting the
We're
look.
working on it.
Tired, okay.
Scratch that.
So everybody's pretty much on board with this, the teachers, the principals, the admin, everybody's pretty much on board with this.
Well, our teachers aren't part of this. This is an outside organization that we've had to hire to come in. Hopefully, going forward, we can use our own people, and if we are unable to, then we'll bring this organization in much earlier.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
But in terms of impacting our academic outcomes, this would be a boon, is what
Yes.
you're,
Yes.
okay.
So, going forward, we're going to develop a program that will pay our teachers to stay later if they so wish. And if they don't wish, I think Ms. Crystal White had already said one time, there's parents out there with degrees that may be qualified to, can we extend it beyond our walls if we don't have enough teachers? Can we, go out to the community and find others who want to tutor for us? Not necessarily be a teacher with a credential, just something to think about.
It's something to think about.
Rather than pay $240,000, $800,000 on an annual basis to a corporation, where I'd rather get the money in our teachers' pockets, our community pockets, so that's just my feeling.
And that is what we attempted to do
I
at the
know,
beginning
it's
of
hard.
the year. And we would like to, like I said before, we would like to keep this local.
And we are continuing to have those conversations because obviously having our own teachers teach the students, they already know the curriculum, they know where our students are at. So I think it's a goal of both the district and ed services as well as our teachers.
And how can we make it more attractive? I like the per diem or whatever, versus the hourly, whatever
Right.
you
Which
want
we
to
haven't
get to.
agreed on.
Yeah, whatever.
We're working on that.
But, even a 1099 would be more attractive sometimes.
And so what will the monitoring be like for Sylvan?
Well,
Because typically, we have these contracts, and then they're signed, and then we don't meet the need in terms of the student attendance. Our students kind of don't, drop out. We have these lofty goals, but as you know, we've had other programs in the district before. We weren't able to really track the attendance very well and the participation. What will happen with this?
There will be detailed attendance taken on a daily basis, and they will be paid by student by hour.
Okay.
Will this be fed into our new data system or the results?
Yeah, we monitor, again, we monitor the students who are going forward, and we can use these assessments to track how these students are improving. And we do that obviously through the use of technology and data systems.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Anyone wishing to make a motion?
So move.
Moved by Gibson Gray,
Second.
seconded by trustee Vincent. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. We move to item number V. Vendor agreement with Mindful Life Project YMCA of the East Bay.
So, I think this contract is causing some degree of consternation among some people because they see it as Eastern religion. They don't necessarily see it as something to focus on social emotional skills. So I just wanted you to just kind of talk about it a little bit publicly and talk about the benefits.
So again, I think you saw in the goals, in the social emotional goals, you did see mindfulness. We are looking for ways to work with the social emotional state of our students. I think it was highlighted very eloquently earlier in the evening, where we see that our students are coming to school with many challenges. I think if you look at our students who are living in poverty, if you look at our suspension rates, if you look at our attendance rates, we need to equip our teachers and counselors and administrators with tools to help support these students. So mindfulness is something that is being used in other schools. So it's being used in other districts. It's being used in San Francisco Unified. It's being used in Oakland Unified. It's being used in the Acalanes Union High School District. And so there are other districts locally that are using mindfulness and teaching those strategies to students of breathing, of gathering their thoughts, and thinking before they act. And so we have sent staff out to go and observe these schools and to talk to administrators and talk to students and talk to teachers and parents. And so this is something that we want to bring into our schools to help give our students the skills to basically make good, informed decisions. It is already being used at our middle school under a grant, and I think if you've looked at the suspension rates that are prevalent at Park Middle School, you will see a significant reduction in suspension rates and on the culture and climate of that campus. And so again, there has been no talk or any discussion around religious overtones or undertones concerning these breathing techniques that have been moving forward with our students. And so that is what I know about the program, and that is how we intend, how we are asking to use it in our schools to train our teachers and to work with our students in breathing and gathering their thoughts and making mindful decisions and acting in a mindful way.
Absolutely. So we have mindfulness, PBIS,
Toolbox,
restorative justice. And so at some point, each of those are sort of interdependent. The students are learning them at different points. I know many principals use Toolbox very well in some of the elementary schools. And so this is for middle school to increase social emotional awareness and to improve social skills, correct?
Well, this particular contract is for an elementary school.
So this one, okay, it's for Belshaw.
Yes.
But in general, that's the goal for all of the students, is to improve, to develop their social emotional awareness, help them develop consciousness around their behaviors, and then help them, help the school climate overall with all of the programs, correct?
Absolutely, and reduce student stress.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a tiered approach to intervention. I mean, you have your positive behavior intervention, you intervene and teach before the behavior, then you respond with the restorative practices, and then, as you know, we're integrating the Youth Intervention Network. That's at your top tier, where sometimes you're going to have to provide wraparound with the families. So yeah, this is more of the first tier for all students.
I heard the complaints, so I went out and visited Park Middle School for their orientation night on this program, and I participated in the breathing. Breathe in one, breathe out, inhale, exhale. I didn't notice anything religious about it. Didn't feel religious to me to be breathing.
You didn't see the light.
It's brought to us by the YMCA of all groups, and I did some research on it. It was founded in 1979 by John Kabat-Zinn, mindfulness-based stress reduction program at the University of Massachusetts. It's operative in hundreds of prisons, vet centers. U.S. Marines have invested $1.7 million in it of all groups. So I don't know. I can understand the concern, but I can't, I tried to follow that, but it just seems to go down a rabbit hole to me. I can't find any great cause to have a problem with it.
And then from my perspective, the golden rule, do unto others as you want to do it among, on yourselves or whatever. That comes from the Bible, so we're not going to do that. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. This is a program that teaches you how to look at things differently. I don't see religion in it, so I have no concerns.
Oh, I had one other thing I forgot to mention. I also asked Mr. Jim No, had there been controversy at his school? He said one parent did opt out, but one parent in a school, that doesn't seem to be alarming to me.
But he said that parent also understood and really just for the family that had no opposition to the program, so
Yeah.
I don't see the problem.
And so are parents also being trained? Or parents have the opportunity to participate?
Well, not at this time.
Okay, just
Yeah.
checking, because I know Park did have an event where they did invite the community to come and to participate. Okay,
A lot of students are going home, though, and telling their parents to use the breathing tool.
which is
Mom,
great.
I'm using the breathing tool right now.
take a deep breath.
Okay.
I believe we have a comment on this speaker card, Natalie Peterson.
Hi. I'm from Park Middle School, so I just wanted to speak a little bit. You guys seem to be into it, which is great because I love it. It really helps the kids. Anxiety before tests. We're just breathing. That's all we're doing is breathing. We're doing some, we're doing some poses, but we're breathing. We're concentrating and looking in ourselves and seeing how we can calm ourselves down when we need to. How are we breathing right now? How do we breathe when we're angry? How can we, help that? So I just also wanted to give you an invitation if you wanted to come to my classroom. We have mindfulness. It's not meditation, it's mindfulness. We have mindfulness on Mondays at 12:20, from 12 to 12:20. So if you'd like to come, I'm at Park Middle School, just so you can come see it for yourself and do some mindfulness with my class.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so that is the reason I wanted the discussion, because the public will listen to the audio, and for them to hear you say it's just breathing, it just reinforces that it really is just mindfulness. So that was the point.
So I move approval of V.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gibson Gray, second by Mr. Hack. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. We move now to item W.
I just want to hear a little further in regards to were there other vendors or just this particular one that interests you and
Okay.
Superintendent Nello?
So we currently are working with Cyber High, which is this is an online credit recovery program, and so we have Cyber High that we've used for many years. However, as technology has improved and how these programs have gotten better, Cyber High has not changed with those times, and so we need a more robust program than Cyber High. As you know, it's the goal of all school districts and of the state to make as many of our students college and career eligible. And so if you have a student who fails a class or fails multiple classes before they really get their feet under them, they need to make up those credits in some way. And so we did go out and look at other programs, but above and beyond, Odysseyware was the one that was the most robust. So not only does it meet our current need, which is a way for our students to make up credits that they're deficient if they can't attend summer school, or if they don't have the course that they need for summer school because they're taking another course. Odysseyware was the program that we found to be the best effective and allows us to grow in the future if we wish. but currently, we want to use it for credit recovery purposes, but there are other options down the line if we wish to explore that.
And this amount of investment is for 3 years.
This amount of investment is for 3 years, and there is there is training it is heavy in training that comes on the front end. However, I know with multi-year commitments that we have the option to leave it during that time. So, you know, I believe Odyssey Ware you know, has been looked at before by staff, and we had wanted to pursue it earlier on, but this time with Cyber High just really not meeting our needs, this was the best time for us to bring it forward to the board.
Okay, thanks. I just had a question for Joe. We're pretty much ready to go. I know you've been working on our firewall and increased our internet speed, and this is online access, so you feel like we're ready to go and we can handle this throughout our schools?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great.
Any other comments, questions? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Vincent, seconded by
Did you get one already?
Gary,
Okay,
Mr. Hack. Seconded by Mr. Hack. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We move to item number 13, action items. A, student stipulated expulsions. E, 711, 713, and 715.
I move approval.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Wood, I put a speaker card on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, there it is, I'm sorry.
I withdraw my motion.
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. Mr. Mims, please.
Just to the board, I'm concerned about the, this particular agenda item and that one following it. It has a total of, well, there was 5 students were put up for expulsion. 3 of them were expelled, 2 of them were suspended expulsion. My concern is whether or not the expulsions met the threshold of the 5 findings of fact, in which they are mandatory. The 5 findings of fact is 1, possessing, selling, or otherwise furnishing a firearm. 2, brandishing a knife. 3, unlawful sale of a controlled substance. 4, committing or attempting to commit a sexual assault. And 5, possessing an explosive. So those are the 5 findings of fact, mandatory. So if these folks, these students did not come under the threshold of the 5 findings of fact, they shouldn't have been expelled. So that's one of my concerns. Also, when you look at where they came from, you have Dallas Ranch. You know, I think 3 of the students came from Dallas Ranch. Dallas Ranch is supposed to be the place where you have somebody who has been trained in restorative justice practices. So my concern is, well, it doesn't seem to have worked. I mean, you know, you have somebody at Dallas Ranch who trained the, I guess, some of the other teachers within the school district. This is the man over the restorative justice practices. So how come the restorative justice could not have been applied to the very school that this person is working at? And so that's my concern. It is as though the restorative justice is just a name. You know, it's just a name. So if, as I said before, if those students did not meet the threshold of the 5 findings of fact, then the expulsion was not a mandatory one. So my concern is how quick and how easy are these students being expelled without a given proper due process. Thank you.
Just to correct, there's 2 from Dallas Ranch and 2 from Black Diamond.
No, thank you. I can make a mistake every now and then.
No problem.
Do I hear a motion?
make my motion again to approve.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hack. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I oppose.
One opposed. Motion carries 4-1. Item B, student stipulated expulsions with recommendation for suspended enforcement, E 709 and 710.
If there's no speaker cards, I make a move to approve.
So, before you,
Okay, we can second it and have conversation,
Fine.
or
What do you
or
want
I
to
can
do?
withdraw it, whatever you prefer.
Why don't we wait and see if we have a second?
I withdraw. Okay,
Okay.
I leave it on
Yeah,
then.
do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, a second discussion.
so this is for suspended enforcement. And the other one was a stipulated expulsion. So the suspended enforcement is really the students are going to agree to something specific, I suppose.
So what happens, just so we know the difference of the two, is when
Right.
you have a stipulated expulsion, it means that there was not a hearing and that the family agreed with the expulsion, so they admitted to it and agreed that they would take the expulsion, and the suspended enforcement means that they agree to the it's a stipulated suspended expulsion. It means they agree that what they did was expellable, and so they're agreeing for that, and they're saying we will take the expulsion. However, the district is recommending that we not expel them from our district, that we place them at another site within our district and not expel them. However, if they do that same act again, or if they get suspended or up for expulsion again, then the expulsion then is reinstated, and then they are expelled from our district.
So to go backwards, the first three people we approved are going to Bridges.
Correct.
Okay. And Bridges is a different dynamic than Black Diamond, moving to a different school.
Yes, Bridges is our school that is designated for students who have been expelled. Some districts send them to a county school. We house our own students, but they are expelled from our district, but we
Mainstream,
educate.
they're expelled from the mainstream.
Yes, they don't go to
Okay,
any
campus.
other
That's why I wanted you
campuses.
to discuss that, right?
And as in the first three, the parents agreed, and then these two, the parents agreed, so.
Yes,
But everyone is still in the district.
technically.
Exactly,
Yes.
okay, yeah. You're
Yes.
saying no, okay. Physically, got it. Okay, all right.
Okay. So we had a motion and a second and some discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item number C, Office of Administrative Hearings, agreement case number ending in 548.
Motion.
Motion made. Mr.
Second.
Hack, seconded by Gibson Gray, trustee Gibson Gray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D, Office of Administrative Hearings Agreement case ending in 407.
Motion,
Motion made.
To approve.
motion to go ahead and accept.
Motion to accept. Do I have here a second?
Second.
Motion made by trustee Vincent, seconded by trustee Gibson Gray. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item number E, Office of Administrative Hearings, case number ending in 008.
Motion to reject or not approve.
Deny.
Pull. It's
Deny.
deny, yes, deny.
Deny.
Reject, deny.
Second.
Motion made to reject or deny, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion to reject carries unanimously. Item 14, discussions by board, none. Item,
Whoa.
I thought we had,
This is discuss items that may appear on a future agenda. Is this where I say the California Schools Report?
Is this, no, this
No.
is for
Okay, then
when
never
a
mind.
board member puts a,
Okay, so there's
Yeah.
let
nothing
us
now.
know in
Nothing
advance.
at the
This one
moment.
always
Mhm.
confuses me.
So I just want to make a comment and say, last time we put on here to have a report come back for the cost of, we were going to have a discussion about what it would cost to be in Antioch.
Yes, there is an update of
City
the Friday
Council.
board about the dates, because there were a
Okay.
lot of requests by the board, and
Uh-huh.
so we kind of prioritized,
Okay.
and it's coming up very soon.
Got it. And there was also something about facilities that would be in
Yes,
here
that's
too.
on
I
there
just want
too.
to put that out there.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Item number 15, resolutions for first reading, none. Item 16, resolutions for immediate actions, none. Resolution 17, item 17 for second reading and actions, none. 18, board policies for first reading, none. 19, board policies for second reading and action, and we're going to discuss board policy 9200, limits of board member authority.
Okay, I wanted to add some stuff in here, just a second. I can find it. So many papers. So I know what the easy ones are off the top of my head. If you go, let's see. Let me see if I can find the paperwork. In item number 4, I have some changes for item number 4. Under that policy. Give me just a minute. I hope I print it. So, where it says, the simple one is, it says complainant can be referred to the superintendent. It should say superintendent or designee, however you want to say that. Because if the superintendent's not here and she delegates, then that, it has to say designee. And I've researched it, and most of the 9200 board policies across most school districts have that language in there.
But if-
Superintendent or designee.
But if you do that, then the language says you can send it to, for example, Miss Anello, or bypass Miss Anello and go to Ms. Romeo. So,
No, it would be whoever the
In-
superintendent delegate.
Right.
Sometimes she delegates responsibilities, and it would be to whomever she, Ms. Anello would delegate. It wouldn't just be anybody.
no, but,
You gotta put those verbiage in there.
The designee, it should say or designee. It is 4.
Perhaps it could say, or superintendent's designee.
yeah,
That would be good.
yeah, not to just the designate.
Huh.
And that goes without saying anyway, so.
So the other item is, well, let's see.
I have one to add.
Yes, please.
The board member cannot do business with the district served, nor should the board member have an interest in any contract with the school district in general.
What item is that?
No, that's part of the 9200 with, that we should.
So you want to add something?
Yes, we want to add.
Would you mind reading that one more time?
The board member cannot do business with the district served, nor should the board member have an interest in any contract with the school district in general.
But how does that apply to board member authority? Ms. White? I'm just curious, how does that apply to board member authority?
I looked at 5 different districts, and they have that in the policy. I think, I
Okay, even it's in the policy, I'm wondering how it applies to our authority.
Well, I just think there's a lot of conflict of interest. That's why.
So
Within this
board
district.
members are currently doing business?
No, I mean, as far as vendors and things like that.
You're saying you want to make sure that there's no conflict of interest or influence on board members with vendors, that there's absolutely no relationship with contractors, with board members, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But I still don't understand how it applies to board member authority. Which is this, it may be in other ones, but this particular one, I'm just trying to figure it out.
I believe there is also a conflict of interest policy
Right.
I would
within
think
the
so.
9,000, so it may be in there, but I don't have a chance to look it up. But usually you do have a conflict of interest policy within the district.
So I don't have, I can't find my changes, but, there is, under, I think it's also under item number 4. I printed this, but I have no idea where my papers are. I can't find them. Don't laugh, Diane. Also, behind that, it should say that, given a complaint or problem to, it should say that after the appropriate district process, it should say, transferring this over to the superintendent does not preclude a board member from hearing a complaint or problem. There should be that line behind that. I have it on paperwork at home, but I didn't bring it. But there's a line that should go behind that as a part of the rest of that, the legal aspects of that as it relates to ed code and board members' authority.
Well, given this is for second ad,
Exactly.
and can we just table it till next time? I don't want to go into rewriting something on the second time. We've heard it the first time. This is the second. I'd really rather have a clean policy to look at and maybe address Crystal's questions on how that applies to board member. Would anybody have a problem with tabling it to another meeting?
I agree with tabling because I do not want to write
From the dais,
language
yeah.
in public, not in public, but just not have a clear copy to make a decision
Okay,
on. That's
okay.
all.
Yeah, I left it. I
I'm
was gonna
happy
bring
to,
it you.
Well, yeah, it's-
any input that you have, send my way, and I can
Absolutely.
present it again for a first reading with that in italics.
So let's just not table this. Let's just not vote on this one.
Yeah, we're not.
And
gonna
then
vote
just
on it.
bring it back,
Chris is gonna have
take
it.
no action.
Mr. Mims, would you still like to comment?
So if everyone agrees that we're not going to take any action, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
This is an action item, so some kind of motion has to be made on it to either postpone it to next time or something. But anyway, I wanted to say that in terms of the policy itself, Ms. Vincent mentioned, could I see number 4, please? In number 4, in the third from the last line in that paragraph, it says refer to the superintendent so as, so I know I heard the debate about it shouldn't be there.
Right.
But the issue is, and I have another point to add on to that, if the superintendent's not here, you got to refer to somebody. But let's be consistent. Look at item number 6. It says superintendent or designee.
Right.
And so let's be consistent in the policy, so won't be any confusion. So that's just, that's simple. If you even look at ed code, and when it comes to suspensions, you said the principal or his, her designee, it's all through ed code, his or her designee. So this is just a minor change that you should adapt. There's not a problem because it's consistent with ed code, and also it's consistent with how you're writing your board policy. That's all I wanted to point out. Thank you.
And I don't have a problem with that one. It's the other add-ons that I'm concerned.
Yes,
I'm a person that see things visually.
excuse me, Madam President, and also in the listing originating office, 3 other districts state bylaws are by Antioch Unified School District, not by the superintendent.
Right. And it is the board's job to write board policy. That is absolutely correct. It just depends on how that last line want to be stated. It would be consistent with all school districts in their whole board policy 9,000 group, where they identify the board as being responsible for the board policy. Just takes the onus off of the superintendent, so.
So I would suggest that board members can email the superintendent, but not copy all the other board members to have a serial meeting. Any thoughts you might have on any rewrite? Item number 20, information and anticipation of future action, Board of Education district email addresses.
Yes, I put this on the agenda this evening. There was some discussion at a board meeting in the past by some board members that they would like to, rather than go through their personal email, have a district email. And given the Supreme Court decision, I think that's probably a prudent idea in that it puts it on our server, any communication, so there's no question or perception out in the public that district business is being handled anywhere but on a district server that is searchable for public records. So, Joe, did you want to say we're ready to go with those, if that's something that the board has an interest in tonight? Just want to gauge your interest.
We would prefer that your content would be stored on our servers so that we can host it properly. We're ready to go at your behest, and we can provide support to make sure that you have the necessary software to connect at your house or through our webmail. But we are ready to go.
In addition, I attended that webinar. If you do happen to use your phone, I highly suggest that you copy your district email on it, and then that way you always have that public record. I'm going to try and keep away from the phone, but if I do have to do it, if I'm traveling, I will copy the district website, district email.
Right, I'm pretty much ready to go. I think that when I take the governance class this weekend, I'm sure they'll have lots to say about what people are doing. But the other thing too is most districts have been doing this for some of their school board trustees for some time. This is nothing new, and most other districts also provide their school board trustees with personal devices. I'm not saying that we do that here because we don't have the budget, but I do know at other district sites, they do supply their school board members with laptops and cell phones. And I'm not saying that we do that, but I think I'm glad we're catching up to what's happening in some of the other districts. So, that's just what's happening out there. So I'm okay with that.
So unless if anyone objects, I think we have a consensus to move
Please.
forward.
Please.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
It'll be an option open to board members. Thank you.
Item number 21, information items for general information, none. Item 22, future agenda items from board members.
We still have a number that are going to be coming forward from the last two meetings. It was somewhat of a lengthy list. We're trying to get through that. I apologize for any,
Sure.
what seems like perhaps a delay.
And a debrief from the California New School Report Card.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving to item number 23, individuals to address the board regarding items not on the agenda. I don't see any late cards. Item 24, reports from board members relative to memberships, other organizations, or district business. Anyone like to add something here?
I would like to, Mr. President. Deborah and myself attended the Legislative Action Day in Sacramento yesterday. We were able to meet with a senator, assembly member, and I thought it was very enlightening to be able to have a voice. We talked about teacher shortages, and it seems like other districts, not just ourselves, I was really surprised, like Pleasanton, Benicia are experiencing this as well. And it just gave us a chance to meet other board members, just like the conference. And I appreciate to attend that.
And one of the neat things about being back on the board after a sabbatical for a year or two is that I'm going out to school sites again and seeing kids and doing stuff, and band recitals and spelling bees are so exciting. But nonetheless, they're good. But I did go to Deer Valley today to see Once Upon a Mattress, the play. Very good show. It's 2.5 hours long, but it's very good. And we had 5 different schools with kids in the auditorium. They were wonderful. They clapped, they enjoyed, they fell asleep sometimes, but nonetheless. Sometimes we say we do negative things about how kids are doing and whether to get a whole group of places, even, what's his face? Ken Bergman. The shows that were there, the 3 shows. Yeah, percussion discussion. The kids behaved very, very well. They were in tune. Today was excellent. They're gonna do 4 more shows. It's gonna cost you $12, but you might wanna go do it. It was great. I was totally impressed by the actors and the orchestra and the background people, and then the 800 kids sitting there. And they were, they were small kids, elementary kids. So they were just phenomenal. So, just want to share. Neat to see kids again.
So I'll just say that Trustee Sawyer-White is correct in saying that Legislation Day was awesome. And one of the things that I focused on was the reserve cap, because I know that there are some, for the past 2 years, CSBA has been trying to have that reserve cap expanded with flexibility. And so we were able to have a robust discussion about that. And there are some bills coming down the pike to support school districts as it relates to teacher shortages and what some of the assembly members are trying to do to help bulk up, people's interests at the colleges as it relates to them being interested in the field of education. They even talked about housing, having some housing programs and down payments and different ways to help new teachers financially that will pique their interest. So I'd be excited if something like that actually happened. The other thing too is that everybody's talking about the budget or lack thereof, and people are really worried about the impact of charter schools because it's happening all over the state of California, and people are really concerned about how they're going to be able to make their budgets match, especially in those schools where they don't have the unduplicated students. A lot of people are really concerned about their bottom line. So I think in terms of reserve cap, I think Antioch's looking pretty good. And, I'm glad that we set aside that extra money as a board, and it gives us a little more cushion than other districts have. And so I'm hopeful that we will come up with some strategic plans to work on our attendance. That's really going to have to be our number one focus, is improving our attendance and finding ways to connect with families so that they will want to be here. Because as we know, families are making a choice in terms of where they want to go to school, and we want them here in this district. So we just have to continue to get better. So that's kind of going to be the focus all the way around. And I actually went to an event where Mr. Mims received the community award for all his community service. He is well known for torturing a lot of school districts. So congratulations to Mr. Mims on his community service award. And best wishes to Parents Connected on your HBCU tour. So I wish you guys much safety and hope the kids have fun.
Attended an Administrator Awards dinner. Great to see our very own Jessica, Ruth, and Bob Sanchez as award, and Louis Rocha award recipients. Jason Larson came up with a great one. He called Bob Old School Cool. Old School Cool. That's great.
And he's singing Irish.
And he sang. He sang a ditty. All right, we move to future meetings, which will be held here April 26th, May 10th, May 24th. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Have a pleasant evening.